Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again.
Told me that you're gassed up, I'll pass you a flask full of jack love at last. I'm at peace with this vast blood. Only took a crash landing down in the trash mud to figure out why I've been so smashed up. Holy moly, lonely only when I'm coldly zoning, cozy in my holy home without my homie ceremonies, owning in my own, rolling through my dome, hoping that I'm only throwing stones to get you going. Maybe you could clone me, break the ache and make me hate the way forsaken snakes take their stake in what I make and break it. Maybe lay it on a plate, maybe shoot it out in space to watch it die. Either way, I ain't trying to lie.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show, along with my co-host, Mr. Pedro Garcia, in the box here. Pedro, welcome to the show today, everybody. It is August 19th, 2025. It's Jackson Hole Week, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jackson Hole Week. That means the Fed is speaking and coming to some conclusions about what they're going to do in the market. Will they share that information with us? Will they not? Probably not, but we'll see. We'll be analyzing everything they have to say. I think the whole event is starting tomorrow. But before that, the Wyoming Blockchain Association has been meeting along with our frequent guest and commenter, Caitlin Long, of the CEO of Custodia Bank. And Caitlin says she talks about life in a new administration here, in which the old administration was running Choke Point 2.0, and the new administration is saying, bring on the business, baby. Anyway, we'll have some more comments from her about that later. Also, CME's Fed Watch has reached 100%, saying that there's going to be a cut in the Fed rate coming up. Last time we checked on it, it was at 30%. And now also, it is what, Pedro? It is Technical Tuesday anyway. Today is the day in which Pedro Garcia brings all of the world's technical indicators to you, day traders, so you can learn what's coming down the pipe here. Just as an example, one of the things Pedro always talks about is what? Jobs report. He's been talking about for 2 years, and that it's always been sucking, getting bad info from the Biden administration. Turns out we're getting bad info from the Trump administration too. And now, as they go through the information, they're going and finding out, hey, wait a minute. Now, the information, it wasn't just bad. It was hiding the truth, and the economy is bad. The jobs market's slowing. Very interesting stuff. Lots of stuff going on. Pedro called it 2 years ago. Still calling it today on Technical Tuesday. Pedro, what's happening today?
Not much, my friend. How you doing? You look quite dapper in your nice little button-up shirt, looking all almost like cowboyish.
Yeah, I went athletic today. An athletic look. It's my golf cover up here. You know, I had a bright blue shirt on, and I'm sitting in a remote office here today, father-in-law's office, and I was sweating my nuts off. And I looked like Norm on Cheers. Is this noticeable? You know,
where everybody knows your name.
So I switched at the last minute, and switched at the last minute for that. But welcome everybody to the show. Welcome, Pedro. Thanks for joining us. I know you got your work cut out for you today. Thanks for everybody that's joining us on Rumble, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitch, on X, and in Def Concept. So thanks for joining us with everybody. If you could, we ask everyone to come to Rumble and help us out getting to our monthly requirement of having so many people actually chat in the live. It helps us out, helps us stay in the creator program and be one of the top shows on Rumble in the crypto category.
we are in the crypto category, the top show on Rumble, which is kind of a big deal. We consistently hit like the top number for everybody, but when you look at the actual like numbers themselves, it's pretty small. And our goal, really, what I'm trying to do is build a community where we can actually see what the institutions are doing and how they trade, and bring that to you guys so that you don't get screwed over, right? Like we talked about Ethereum down over at 2,500, how they were getting bullish, and we talked about it pretty clear with Ethereum at these levels here. And I said we're going to see a bit of a sell-off up at that level of, I thought we were going to get above to the highs and then get pushed down, but A lot of people preempted that. So you can see here we're coming down. We're coming down to our area here of that 38.82 that we marked out for liquidity. And we could potentially be coming down to that 50 period moving average, which is that 35.60 area here as it correlates. Also, guys, if anybody has any questions or you want any things over at DEFCON, ask me questions. If you could do me a favor in the actual comment section on Rumble, so they can just feed the algorithm, which helps us out immensely. But we saw it coming down to these lower levels here. I've been talking about now for a couple of weeks as we're moving up. I said, wait for it because I'm expecting this to send. So on that same idea, when you're looking at it, there you can see this was this area of supply. We saw it come down, and we're going to be seeing it now capture a lot of buyers as it's selling off. So they're filling up their bags here, and it's important to pay attention to 5, 15, 30 minute as it's selling off. You can see on as it was moving up, a lot of buyers were coming in. As we peaked out, a lot of buyers were coming in. But as we pull out, do not get confused. Look at the amount of buyers coming in as we're pushing up. Now, if we go in at a smaller level, right, you'll see here like, oh, but look at all that selling. Oh my goodness, there's so much selling coming in. But if you pull back, you see that actually, yeah, you can see it's not that big of a deal. These are just people absorbing a lot of those sellers with buyers. I know it sounds weird, but basically look at it like this: for every buyer, you need a seller. And so, especially with TradFi, when you have such huge positions that they're playing, they have to get in and get out over a period of, a week, 2 week, 5 week, a month. And so they put in their positions, and they run out of sellers for their buys. So they have to create sellers, and those sellers are then what they use to put in their positions, right, as they want to continue higher. And I've talked about how they are, back here before anybody started talking about treasuries for Ethereum, we were talking back here in June,
right,
June. Look, it's holding here on the 100-day period moving average. This is institutional buyer. That is an institutional area that they would be buying at. And once I saw a pretty good amount of volume, even though we were pushing up or we were pushing down with volume increasing, once I saw it held here, and then all of a sudden I started seeing it consolidating right here, and we started seeing above the 8 period moving average here. Come on, bud. And if you don't mind doing me a favor, Tom, making sure that we are paying attention to the for whatever reason, my live here on our show here doesn't look like.
I was just checking it.
Yeah,
I was just checking the feed.
It's not. All right, cool. Okay, cool. We're good there. You can see here that the market, as it's coming down here at these lower levels, or excuse me, coming back as we're moving up, this once we started staying above that 8 period moving average here, and I was looking at this going like, this is sexy. Like this right here, I look at that, I'm like, that's them putting in that position and getting ready to explode. So we were looking, once we crossed this area right here and started to play touch and tag here on that 8. That was clear. Like it was clear as day. Like, look, it came through, found support here at the institutional 100-day period moving average, and then we started just seeing it kind of cook as it started to move up. We started to find support. My biggest thing was, I said, and this was, you can go back and look at these dates on our show, but I said these two movements here of this amount of volume, like you look at this volume too, we had pretty good volume here for these 2 days. I was like, oh, it's going to go down. And then all of a sudden on Thursday and Friday, like that Wednesday.
Green candle volume days. Love it.
But it was higher. The key point is it was higher than these days here. And that's a significant moment because of where we were bouncing off of. Like this should have been the opposite. I mean, it literally should have been the opposite. Whereas if we were going to go down, we would see, like I thought, oh, we're going down because look, it's higher volume than these previous days. But when the next 2 days came in, and we saw buyer volume coming in right here, then this was the indication when I saw the next red day right here, right, which was a larger red candle, but less volume, which means there's no real conviction with Ethereum. So we were going to see it move up. So real interesting. So these are the type of movements that I like to look, because those, even though it doesn't seem like that big of a nuance, it's a very big nuance based off where we're sitting in the chart, right? Like your wife coming home and she said, and you're like, hey babe, how you doing? And she seems happy and she looks at and she goes, I'm okay. Right? It's like, like everything's okay. Like everything's fine. And you're like,
price is wrong, bitch.
So it's like, that's good. Shout out to all the Adam Sandler new movie. Those who have been watching the two. If you guys,
Happy Gilmore 2. If you haven't watched it, you gotta watch it.
You got it.
Pedro, I'm gonna interrupt your Ethereum talk here just for a moment, because I wasn't feeling that good. I needed some caffeine, and I thought I'd take a sip of my 1775 coffee here. So let me get this started here. Good morning, everyone. Have you still not tried 1775 coffee? Well, now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. It's just like Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. It's scarce. You're getting three things. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits hard. You're getting the smooth, medium roast. And you're getting the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash. No. It's all single origin, small batch, and toxin-free and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's not. You're getting a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. You're also getting a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a QR code right next to me here on the screen. If you're watching on your smart TV, hold up your phone, point it at it, click it, go visit our advertisers. Let them know that our audience is interactive. It helps us out just by visiting them. We'd really appreciate it if you did that. Also, in your comment section, there's a learn more. There's a link. You can go. Remember to use the code STUDIO, 1775coffee.com/studio, and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Thank you to 1775 Coffee for sponsoring this segment of the DYOR Live Show. All right, Pedro. Now that my coffee's going down well, we can maybe use the caffeine to pump it up and get those prices going up.
Let's go.
Or is it coming back down into your zone first? Did you just sit on your microphone again? Pedro? Earth to Pedro. Pedro, your screen feed died. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a second here. We can't see Pedro's screen. Every once in a while, we have a technical difficulty. The broadcast studio has lost his sound and his screen feed, but his good looks and short hair is still there. If you're just tuning in to DYOR Live, we are a daily crypto talk show here and digital asset show focusing on the things that people day trade a lot. Pedro's coming back here.
There we go. Can you hear me?
His screen is coming back. We got you, Pedro. And what we do every day is a talk show. As I say, my name is Tom. This man in the box next to me is Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. And this is what we do. And now that Pedro's back, we can go back to doing that.
Absolutely. So this is kind of cool. What's going on, man? Barbecue sounds real good right now. Oof. Sorry,
I don't know where that came from.
One of the Defcon guys was ordering barbecue, and I was like,
"You got them in your ear."
I was like, barbecue. Anyways,
Welcome,
so
Chuck
let's focus.
Jansen here and Fire Chicken to the network. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll see your friend Kumgar and all that kind of stuff later.
Absolutely. So let's jump in here real quick so we can pop. So one of the things I think is really interesting here is that as Ethereum is coming down, right, you can see that we're seeing low volume here. This low volume indicates that, again, they want to take it back up. So I'm watching it come down, and really that 50 period moving average with the liquidity pool right here sitting around that 33,000 or 3,300 or 3,361 area right here. It's really what I think we might see it come down to. But again, we've got a liquidity area right here at that 38.82. So it's like it's going to be a bit topsy-turvy. What we could see is something where it just kind of comes in, pushes back up, retests the 8, and then comes back down to that 50 period moving average area here, or it could just simply come down here, see it pop, and then move back up. So we're going to be looking at that as we move, but I'm expecting this to move. Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys this, especially the guys in DEFCON, is that I want you to understand that that was kind of a clear thing of what we're seeing. Now, everything else is going to be a little bit more messy, right? And so in these trades is how I'm looking at this, and I'll give you my psychology behind it and why I'm expecting it from a TA standpoint for you to understand. All right, so check this out right here. So our original place right here was, I said I expect, as Bitcoin was coming in, we were hitting all-time highs, and I expected it to come up. We saw it go up. It took out all the stops, as you can see, that we're sitting right here, and now we're seeing it come down. I said this area here is sitting a lot of liquidity. Right here, there's a lot of liquidity. In this area is a lot of liquidity, which is that 110. And I said we potentially could be just coming down to this area here, seeing a bounce back and go up. That's one of the areas. And we did see a pretty good move here on Bitcoin. When you look at it, come on, brother. Let's go work. What am I watching, bro? Oh, Ghost, what you're watching is my show there. It's actually on Rumble. And what it is just opening. I'm just explaining what our show is, what I'm doing. And then I write on the show so you can sit there and see what's actually happening here. So if guys want to watch it, it's cool. I mean, if it's not, but I was just
I don't have Discord open right now, so I don't know what screen they're seeing, if they're seeing the broadcast screen or just your screen with no graphics and all that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, they're just literally seeing my screen here. So there's no, we're not broadcasting any of our show there, but I did put the link in for it. So if
encourage all of you to join us on Rumble, get the full effect of the show, and be entertained even just that little bit more.
Yes, to shill. Yeah, I did ask for you guys to shill me if you don't mind. Grok tweet, funny. All right, so you can see here as we're coming down to these lower levels here for Bitcoin, I'm expecting us to really kind of see a sell-off. I think we'll probably see a slowdown in the degen world, because typically when we see that kind of a sell-off, things will kind of play around there. And so I think we'll see an engagement really at that 100-day period moving average, which is sitting at that 110. And so that's really where I'm looking to actually take advantage of this here. As it pulls back between this level of 112 to about 107 here. Don't know exactly where it's going to stop, but that's really where I'm kind of seeing for a short-term play of the market as it continues down here for Bitcoin. Now you can see here as we're selling off, one of the things I think it's important to look, boom, show your support. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that, guys. This is the one. One of the things that you could be paying attention here is as we're coming down to this level, we want to see a slowdown of volume for buy volume, right? And you're going to really see that on these levels here. I think it's important to see. As we start to see it come down into these levels here, you'll start to see a slowdown in seller volume. And so in that same sense, as it comes down, you'll see something like this, boom, boom, and like I said, potentially this one. And we should see a decrease of seller volume on these plays, knowing that that's them slowing down. And then once, and also the psychology is this, is as we see sellers slow down, that means that the buyers, the institutions, are literally getting their positions getting filled up. Now we'll know if they're looking to sell off even more if we don't see that, okay? Because there's a lot of psychology here. So it's understanding that they need buyers for their positions. And so they're taking out this market. And as they're doing it, right, they need sellers for this market because they want to buy. And so they need somebody to come in on that to fill up. And as it's selling off, if I see sellers basically decreasing, then that should mean that we're going to see it turn around because the buyers or the institutions have filled up fairly well. So it's important to understand that psychology. So when I'm looking at this market, it plays the same way. Now, with Technical Tuesday, I typically start at the large scale of things. So if you want to, so I went over that so you guys can sit there. Now I'm going to incorporate TradFi and how TradFi has been really a major mover in a lot of these plays here, and how you can take advantage of that. And you need to understand kind of like from a global standpoint, how all the stocks are moving, how things are happening. And then I'll narrow it down into commodities and how those play. And then I'll narrow that down into a few other crypto markets and how that plays into everything. And you can understand the full side of how the money works with TradFi and how they're actually putting money into crypto. So it's going to be really cool. We go over crude oil and how that looks and what that looks like as well. Okay. Well,
Pedro, this is a good time for me then to reintroduce Technical Tuesday to everybody that's watching. For all of you new viewers coming to us, we're a daily talk show. Every day we talk about something different, but every Tuesday we talk about the world's leading economic indicators, and Pedro leads the episode called Technical Tuesday. And as always, I like to run this little intro ditty for him.
So at this point, they can't hear us. Right?
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching that little ditty. I always like to run it to give Pedro a little psych up for his talk about all the leading stuff coming out. Technical Tuesday every Tuesday here, 12:05 to 2:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Pedro, it's all yours.
Excellent. So we've got a couple things we've done. We just went over some stuff about Bitcoin. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. What's going on?
You should be good to go.
Okay. Can you hear me now? All right.
Yep.
So that's great. All right. I think it's partly because I have so many things here going on. All right. Hopefully this works here. So let's look at the kind of the broad, extremely broad market as we come down. So the URTH, which is a ETF, and it tracks all of the stocks in the world, right? From India to Russian. I mean, it just kind of groups it all together. So if you want to take part in like the broad market, you can see here. And we've talked about a couple times how I'm expecting, because America's job market is slowing down. We've talked about the interest rates. We've talked about how certain things will work in the past, and I'll go over that here for a lot of the new people who are watching. You'll understand that this is a huge correlation that plays with what's actually happening in crypto, primarily because there's a huge portion of the world that buys crypto back and forth. And if America's job markets start to slow down, we start to see things really kind of money tighten in traditional finance, i.e. jobs, then we'll see a slowdown in the world, because those are they basically sell to us. And so it's important to understand how that works. And so right now, I think they're going to start really preaching the real numbers. I think they're going to start giving the real numbers for a lot of these economic reports that I've been lambasting and really just saying that they're lying to us, because
they are.
They have. Yeah, because they are. And at first you thought I was crazy, and then you're like, this dude is real. He's like,
I
thought he was
good. I thought he was good. That's like, there's no way the government can screw it up that badly. I mean, of all the things they do, they can certainly count stuff. And it turns out they couldn't do that right either.
Well, just like I said with Miss potential president-elect, vice president, Miss Harris, right? She did what she was trying to do. She kept that border open because they were trying to go and get votes and trying to build things up. And whether that looks right or not, and people are like, oh, she did a poor job. No, she did her job well. And so, and so in the same sense, I don't think that the government was really mishandling the numbers. I think it was a political move to keep this market up, one by the banksters, but two, also by a geopolitical move that Biden was trying to do. And now Trump potentially is trying to do that. We're going to find out. He's rehired a person, and then we're going to see. And they're already starting to post the real, already kind of, I want to say real numbers, but enough numbers that you can see the cracks in the wall. And so that's what I'm expecting. And because of that, I want to point this out. I've been pointing this out here for a while on this, right? We're seeing volume. We're seeing buyer volume step in, or excuse me, seller volume step in right here over the last few weeks. You can see all over it. And then the buyer volume, as we continued higher, mind you, this is the stock market for the rest of the world. This is everybody. It's everybody put together. And you can see
the entire value of stocks worldwide.
Yes, thank you. And so you can see here that we're seeing a decreasing of buyers, even though this market is moving up. Again, hence, this is what I was talking about earlier, right? With Bitcoin and with Ethereum. And so we're seeing volume step in from buyer side on a lot of crypto in comparative to what we're seeing in TradFi. And so that money is definitely being reallocated, I feel, into crypto, which allows us to be able to take advantage at many of these low prices of like Ethereum being at, 4,000 or 3,000 or 2,000 when we were looking at it. Boom, here we go. Okay, next. Now, this is important to pay attention to because this is kind of the bellwether that I look at to see really what's happening. Now, let's check out the S&P 500 because the S&P 500, we see something similar. This is the futures, and look, again, this is what we're seeing, right? Even though now this is kind of it's hard for it to keep up. I talked about it potentially coming back down to that 400 period moving average, which is sitting around that 55.48, potential pullback to an area. And if this thing catches wings, I've talked about the S&P 500 potentially coming back down to like either the 4,700, 47.77, or that 35.99 area. I don't think they will allow it to get down to the 2000s. I think the Fed will step in and they will do quantitative easing against bringing money onto their books and give themselves another heart attack. This is why we've been seeing the Fed really trying to hold rates high, because remember, they make money off of us. And so in the same sense, they siphon off us like parasites. Whether you like the Fed or not, they do hold their purpose, and there's a reason why we do need them, because they give us debt, even though they give us monetary support, even though it's made up money. But in the same sense, it's still something that the rest of the world sits there and goes, oh, but that's true. Just like when we see Bitcoin, we sit there and we go, oh, that makes sense. That's mathematical truth. We believe in it. It's a similar situation with TradFi to crypto ideology. And it's important to see the small nuances there so that we can understand and play that.
And clearly it's
I
a
was
big
talking
week
about.
for the
Go ahead.
Fed right now, Pedro. They've got a lot of information
Exactly.
talking about going on in Jackson Hole get together. All the news organizations out there, except us. but
Mhm.
but it's a big deal, and it's also a big week that people protest the Fed, and they're like, we got to get rid of it and all this type of stuff. But imagine life without the Fed. I mean, imagine the disaster if you truly politicized the money game and the debt game without it, at least a quasi-independent group called the Fed. Imagine if it was just the Secretary of Treasury and he could just do whatever he wanted. I mean, we probably have $200 trillion. We probably would have already been printed to zero, you know?
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, this is super important to understand. The Fed itself actually costs. They do take our money. They through inflation, what actually happens with having to take loans. They do. We're 95.
But it would be worse without them. I mean,
No.
the inflation would be 1,000,000%. It would be like Zimbabwe.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't, because we are the primary holders. We are the world's currency. It changes. Like, it's a different story. There's a video of not Malay, Bukele, when he talks about the Fed and us paying taxes, and it went viral for about 2 hours, and then it was crushed, and you no longer, it's hard to see it. And he made it very clear. Like, I encourage anybody to go see if you can find it, because I've tried to find it a couple times. But Bukele straight up just talks about how, look, you guys are being screwed and pinched, and literally.
Well, I agree with that completely, but I'm just saying we would be screwed more if you let the president, whoever the president is, not the current one, whatever politician, be at 100% in control of it. It would be a total disaster. People say we need to get rid of the central bank. We actually tried that for a while. We got rid of the central bank, early on in our nation building, and it was a complete disaster. It was a complete disaster. We have a better disaster on our hands now, but the fact that they're still taking our wealth through inflation is not a good thing.
I don't know. I disagree with you, but it's okay. But I want to jump on here so we can understand what's actually happening here with the S&P 500. So as the S&P 500 pulls back, we're going to see some major movements here. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about is the bonds and how the bonds correlate again to crypto and what's actually happening there. And we've heard a lot about treasury companies, right? That, like, we're talking about Michael Saylor or a few of the other ones with Ethereum, right? And they're going through and establishing an ability that you can actually take loans against their crypto, right? And then they receive money from that, i.e. kind of like the Fed, right? Or a bank. They're not the Fed, but they potentially could be a Fed down the road and hold certain things as America. I mean, and I put it like this: Saylor potentially, with the amount of Bitcoin that he has, could kind of play as a quasi-Fed, like hybrid with micro strategies. But that's for another day, another time. But it's one of those things that we could see actually happening if the US dollar really starts to depeg from the world's reserve or medium of exchange. I hate using the reserve because we'll just better to understand it as medium exchange for value as we start to move forward into the future. Now, I expect us to see a sell-off. If this thing loses its peg and we see this thing drop, we should see a bounce, a hard bounce at that 46.55. And you're like, Pedro, why are you going over this today? Because some of the news that's coming out this week, if the Fed drops rates, if we see these things actually start to happen, stuff is going to get hairy. And this is where our bond trades are going to step in and really start to do very well, right? Not interest rate trade, because we've been thinking about shorting the interest rates here for a while now, right? Because they've been talking about shorting the rates. The bonds themselves, we've been seeing these since January, or excuse me, not January, but since January, February, really start to pick up. And this is where we've taken a few trades off of the bonds here. And so let's jump here real quick. Boom. So the NASDAQ is actually showing more weakness. And now we're seeing the correlate again with NASDAQ and Bitcoin. They're both kind of trading lock and step here. And as we're watching, that's why we're paying attention here, because typically what I'm looking for is the divergence from Bitcoin and NASDAQ. And I think money is going to be pulling out of NASDAQ. They're in cash, and they will re-diversify. And I think they'll re-diversify into BTC here. We're already watching it. And so this is where I'm just paying close attention to see as we move forward. But as NASDAQ is starting to come, I'm looking at these at the level of 22,238 down to potentially that 21,318 area at first pick. Then the next level from there is honestly going to come all the way down to that 19 and potentially 18, 16 area, because it's basically going to be a free fall. And if we pass through that 21, 22 area here, there's really nothing until we get to that 400 period moving average, which is that 20 to 16,000 area. I know it's a wide area, but you can see how it just kind of saw the V-shaped bounce, and so you have a lot of wiggle room there. If it looks something kind of like this, it'd be a different story. But it wasn't.
It's my guess that without Mr. Trump's tariff talks, that V never would have occurred, and it just would have had a smooth march up.
No, it would have went up, but the problem is that America needs to get its crap in order. It has to.
You've got that right.
It has to, or it falls apart. And anyways.
Baby Draco, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. The correlation is correlating, he says. Good morning, Chads. Thank you very much for Baby Draco. Jesus coming to us from San Francisco, California. Thanks for joining the show.
Definitely. Technical Tuesday. Draco, you can always ask questions and we can go over stuff. Let's go ahead and move here. Sailor's long video about the history of world currency is a good watch. It's long, so either get the popcorn out or break it up into sessions. I agree with that. This is actually a great video. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It is. It's fantastic. I reference it all the time.
So one of the things I'm paying attention to is, and if you're looking to take part in some stock, if we see a major sell-off with what's happening here in the RTY, which is basically the Russell 2000 futures, it's important to pay attention to this. As if we see this thing sell off, right, when we start to see it come down, Trump's initiative for the job market and see manufacturing is really going to see here. So this is where we're looking at to kind of pay attention. And yes, the manufacturing job index in relationship to the actual chart itself, we're also going to be correlating that between this and that, seeing it if it holds and we find a bottom, if we see the sell-off come in. I don't know if the Fed will allow it, but we shall see. Okay, next, let's check out our 1 month. We've been talking about short-term yields and how I expected.
Hey, Pedro, you're going to switch into bonds, which is a long segment. Before you do that, let me hit an advertiser up here for us.
Okay. All right.
Let's see, where were we on that? Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's right. We haven't heard from these guys in a while. Especially you gamers out there. I bet you there's a bunch of you gamers over in the DEF CON forum. Anyway, are you ready to level up your game? AIM Controllers is where custom meets unbeatable value. And right now, it's the best deal of the year. We start with official Sony and Xbox controllers fully compatible with console and PC. No functionality lost. Nope. Then you go wild with custom features, smart bumpers, paddles, grips, stick height, custom buttons, even design your own PS5 snap panels. And here's the part no one else is doing. Lifetime warranty on all modified parts. That's right, lifetime. What other company does that? I'll wait. Exactly. None of them do. Normally, a fully loaded setup could run you $400, but during our one price promo, a little alliteration there, it's just $209 US or 182 euros, no matter how many features you add. Use code RUMBLE at checkout and lock it in. This is your sign. Go to aimcontrollers.com and build the last controller you'll ever need. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a QR code on the screen right here. You're watching on a smart TV. Hold up your phone, point it at it. Visit our advertisers. Let them know that our audience is interactive and alive. It helps Pedro and I out a lot, just even if you visit their website through these codes. Also, in your comment section, there's a Learn More link. Go ahead and link there. And if you're watching this on the replay, down in the body of wherever you're watching it, there'll be a link to aimcontrollers.com. And thanks to Aim Controllers for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live. All right, Pedro. Cool. The bond market is always fun to... I've learned so much about the bond market from you, Pedro. And it's interesting every week, even though bonds, people are like, bonds are boring, they're just this and this type of stuff. But they're such a leading indicator. It really shows where people believe. When the media and the government are talking this way, wah, 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 and the bonds are doing something else, that means the things that people are saying aren't true. Because people do what, viewers, and Pedro has taught me this over and over again. People vote with their money. They vote with their money, not with their mouth. Their mouth, they spew bullshit and talk. With their money, they put it where they really think. And the bond market's a leading indicator of that. And about 2 years ago, when Pedro and I started Technical Tuesday, he started saying the bond market isn't this is not right. And I said, why isn't it right? He said, the jobs numbers don't match. If the jobs were that plentiful, bonds and yields would be doing this. And it wasn't. And so he was sitting there scratching his chin. And back then he had long hair and a big gray beard. And he was coming to the conclusions about something. And I didn't understand it. But then after all this time of learning about how the bond market really shows what's going on, it's like when you watch the World Series of Poker, and they have the little camera behind the cards so the viewers can see the guy's cards. That's what the bond market is. It's that secret camera. It gives you insight into it. So this segment is very good. If you have any questions about it, Pedro goes through a lot of information in the bond sections. Stop us and ask a question. Pedro?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So Jon Snow over in DEF CON. So it's really important. You want to understand the market and how it all pours. The bonds are literally where everything hinges is on bonds. I mean, literally literally your poop hinges on bonds. The clean water that comes out of your faucet and that you poop in comes from bonds. I'm not joking. This is how important bonds are and yields are. Because this is the small lever that moves. This goes down a little, this goes up. This goes up, this goes down. And understanding the nuance between yields and bonds, they move small, but on the other end, when this part goes down, this goes up hard. And this upper level on my pinky are stocks, futures, currencies. But it's all levered between these two little markets. So understanding those two little markets will give you an insight. Do you remember when I was talking about, many of you guys, I talked about Solana and how Solana was going to be seen sell off. You know where I got that from? Bonds. You're like, what? How does that work?
Because what are you talking about, Pedro?
Because money inflow and outflow between your bonds and your interest rates will correlate with movements of wherever money's flowing to. And money was flowing into Solana, and it was institutions that were playing. And so it's important to understand the nuances here. And you can make a lot of money understanding this. People just don't care, dude. They don't give a fuck. It frustrates me.
I'll tell you, Pedro, some people do.
I'm literally hooking people up with such huge things here, and they just don't get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Fire Chicken for donating $5 to in a Rumble rant. Thank you very much. Feeling like things are too technical on this fabulous Tuesday? Well, then come on down and check out Fire Chicken. Appreciate Tom and Pedro. That is a $5 shill by Chuck Jansen, a loyal viewer who runs a project called Fire Chicken. Check it out, everybody. Thank you, Chuck. As always, everyone's Rumble rants and YouTube super chats go to bettering this show. And there's nothing better for the algorithm to push out our show than saying that you are separating the money from your wallet and putting it in our wallets and a little bit into YouTube and Rumble's wallets too. But it helps our engagement out a lot. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Those who have shown love. But it's important to understand the reason why, like, I can call such big markets and, like, understand when Solana is pumping, pump fund pumps. When Solana is trash, everything else is, a lot of the stuff is trash. So understanding that nuance is super important. And it's just one of those things that just, I guess people are too ADD. Anyways, we'll just move forward. So your 1 month yield here is we're showing weakness here. You can see here we tried to gap up, came down. We held at this level, but if this thing goes down, we're going to see yields going from 3.39 to 3.21. This huge sell-off is going to call bonds to rally hard. And so one of the things we're looking at is our short-term play here on bonds. So we've been talking about how bonds have been at the low areas right here since January. We came back down from January, shot up. We should see this honestly catch wings, and we could see bonds get up to the higher levels here. Let me get 10-year. These higher levels of 105 to 106 area, and so that's an important level here. Also, me looking at really this upper level of that 122 to 121 area here on the 10-year T-notes is important, because if this thing starts to scream up, that means money is coming into America, which means that we're then going to start seeing the US dollar push up, which means then that as Americans, as we take our US dollar and buy more crypto, it has more purchasing power. How it correlates there. And so it's important to see that correlation, especially when it comes to crude oil, because you're like, well, why does crude oil mean anything? Well, you have to fill up your gas. Everything correlates to crude oil, from the shirts that you wear to the shoes and the streets that you walk on. Everything is tied. And so when crude oil goes up here, it's going to allow you to have less money. But if crude oil goes down, it allows you to have more money in your pocket, i.e. also the rest of the world to buy more crypto. And so we literally killed their chat. That's hilarious. It's pointless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think that, at least that was a good try, man. Shout out to you guys who are still in here. All right, so understanding this is imperative to understanding what's correlated down the road, so you can take big plays, so you can size up. Understanding this nuance here, so that you can capture big moves. Now, we talked about back in January, where you had where prices were about 107, and it shot all the way up to 114. We saw the pullback here, but as things start to progress and we start to see trade actually start to move between what Trump is doing and seeing the pickup of the US dollar kick in again, because tariffs act as a suppression for the dollar, because we have a medium exchange called the US dollar, and people have to take US dollar, and that US dollar goes into the cofferdams of bonds. And so this big push here is literally going to come in as we move up, as more trade starts to happen and tariffs start to kind of tariffs aren't going away, but what we're going to see is they pick up again, and the uncertainty is going to go away, and we're going to see things really pick up, especially when it comes to China. China needs us. China is going through their 2008 situation right now. So understanding the nuances here is super important. Okay, next here. This is the 10-year. You have your 30-year here. 30 here is pulling back here, but we're still watching it staying above, and we're seeing the idea here kind of clearly that we're seeing more buyers step in, whereas on the days that it sells off or the weeks that it sells off, we're seeing less volume step in there. So this is where I'm sitting there expecting this to find support here, right here, as we see it go up. So it's kind of cool. Next, let's check out VIX, because the VIX is going to let us know when volatility steps in. When VIX is low, and this correlates to Bitcoin, we see volume or we see volatility slow down. The volume index here, which is the VIX or volatility index here, is based off the S&P 500. We have our NASDAQ that is correlated to the S&P 500 that correlates to BTC. So if this starts to go down, you will see volatility go down. When this starts to go up and I start to see it break above 15, 20, 25, that means that we're about to see some big movements happen in the market. And this is all based off of options, which we will not go into right now. But just understand that this is the indication of big movements being predicted. And so by paying attention to this, yes, go ahead.
No, I thought you were taking a pause there. Go ahead, finish your thought.
So as we start to see this volume start to pick up, which I think we're about to see, because you can already see, and you're like, Pedro, it's a nuance. It looks like the same thing. The biggest difference is this, is that we're seeing it push up and it's not responding. You see here we sold off. I'm expecting volatility to get back up above potentially 20 to 30. And then if that really starts to happen, from there we'll find out. But it's already showing here a little where I expect it to go up. Go ahead, man.
The big spike in volatility there, it looks to be about the middle of April.
Yep.
Is that of this year? Is that
Yep.
correct? I just can't see it on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, right there. And earlier you're showing the S&P 500 chart and the big down, or the NASDAQ chart at the same time. That big sell-off correlates with this big increase in volatility, clearly, because the price went down so much that the volatility goes up. That doesn't mean they're inversely proportional or inversely related. Just means that, you know, if the S&P 500 had gone up that much in that short period of time, then this index would still show the same volatility. Yeah, yes, I never really followed this. It's only something that I started following really after listening to you teach me about it.
Yeah.
But I can see, you know, I've been talking about the intro of the show for a couple of times now. Been talking about Bitcoin kind of being in the doldrums for a while. And if you look at the current volatility, it's at its lows.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Ding, 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 ding.
And since Solana and Bonk and everything else is correlated here, you can see how this plays. And this plays off of bonds. And this, I mean, it's literally all, it's like a family unit now. It used to be kind of separate, but now it's all, it's right there. Institutions are involved. And so this, you need to understand how the institutions play this, so that when I start to see a slowdown here and volume, right, and movement, it will help you understand to know when to get in the market, when to get out of the market. And go do some studying on the VIX index. It will help you understand a little bit more. I don't got time for it today, but I just wanted to go over these things here so you can sit there and see it. I'm expecting it, since we're at the lows here, to start seeing it pick up, especially with what we're seeing in the job market, and the real numbers are going to be coming out here soon. Okay, next, let's check out the PGJ. I like to pay attention to the Chinese stock market when I start to see them go up, right? But yet we know that they're falling apart. Again, this is an indication of them manipulating the market. Hence, also, this goes up and we start to see a drop in the yen that is going to play off of who? The buyers in crypto over in China.
Right.
and then it affects them because remember, they receive also income as well off of their stocks, right? So understanding the nuances there is super important, so that as I'm seeing this push up here, right, and it starts to come in and start to go up, that means we might see some money come in into the market because their dividends, they're paying more money. So it's important to pay attention to this. And right now you can see here, it's kind of pushing up. We sold off our at our supply area here. I'm looking for it to potentially pull back again, but I think it's going to most likely hit this area here. But these are all, oh, that should not be green. Sorry about that. That should be red. Potentially we have a liquidity pool in these lower levels here, but I really think they're going to try to push it up here with just government intervention. Hence making sure that at least people have some money coming in off of that. These are stocks, and remember, they pay dividends, and people can also sell off their stocks and receive also income from that. So it's important to be paying attention to this. Now let's check out the US dollar. US dollar, we called it the short here. The reason why the US dollar is important, like I said, is it gives us more purchasing power in the world system, right? And so if we see the sell-off happen, which was because of the tariffs, because people slowed down in their trading between other countries and US, and kind of put a kibosh on. I mean, obviously we kept the supply chain going and other countries were trading, but again, it was a slowdown. Excuse me, I don't mean to go burp in your guys' ear. All right, so this is one of those things that I'm expecting. We've been talking about this now for a while. We saw the push up here. We talked about this area being an area of support. On Wednesday, we went over this. This area is still acting as support. The next leg up is going to shoot the dollar all the way up to about 102 to about 103 area. Okay, it's going to be the 200 period moving average. When we see this play, we talked about this area acting as resistance, right? Which was going to be that 101 to that $99 area. We talked about it coming down to our levels here back in January, right? When it was at $1.06. Actually, I think it was the 109, right? Back in January here, January, February. And I said, expected to pull back up and then come back down. We saw it just sell off. And I said, this is what we should see the US dollar get to about to that 100 area to roughly about that 95 area. They didn't get all the way down to our area, but this was an epic play that we played here. And I said, with this happening, we also could see an increase in BTC because people are also going to be looking to get some form of interplay. So we saw a lot of countries also jump into BTC because the US dollar wasn't necessarily being, I think it was being, it was just being played with from an geopolitical standpoint. So this is what I'm expecting. Shout out to you guys there in DEF CON. I appreciate you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 11. If you guys could do us a quick favor. No, 10, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. Sorry. 12 or 13. If you guys could do me a favor, I'm trying to really kind of push this here. If you guys can jump over to the Rumble account there and just shill that a little.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
If you have a Rumble account, we'd appreciate it if you click the link and at least drop a chat in there. We have to maintain so many chatters per month in the Rumble Creator Program. And in Rumble, most people watch on their smart TVs, so they don't engage in the chat. So for those of you that do have a Rumble account, and remember, if you don't have to pay for one. You can just sign in via your Google or Facebook account and drop us a like and a chat and a repost and whatever. It's fun, it's great, and it helps Pedro and I out. So thank you.
Yeah, immensely. All right, so let's check out here real quick. This is going to be a big play here because if we see the US dollar literally go from 98 cents all the way to 102, or to 103 and 102 area here, this is going to be a big play for the rest of the world, and especially for crypto. And so we want to, I'm warning you guys here now so you can understand what's going to happen here in the future, right? And this is going to correlate with what we're seeing with the bull run here. And as money starts to inflow here, it should the US dollar is going to raise anything that's correlated with it higher. And so that's going to be, and even though it's not correlated, we're already starting to see BTC play in certain areas. And so this is why I've been looking at this. Give me 1 second. Boom.
Cumgar says, I definitely appreciate the technical stuff. Thank you very much, Mr. CMMG AR15. Also, Fire Chicken says, and at Fire Chicken, we do like this technical stuff too. A nice little shill. Cumgar says, we have a winner. I don't know what that means, but you guys are all winners in my book.
All right, next, let's check out crude oil here. Crude oil here, we've been talking about back here in January. We talked about it coming all the way down to that 55 area, to that 45 area. We came down to our 55 area for crude oil. And then we saw this double bottom push back up. This is when it hit 70, 80 cents. And Trump literally said, knock that stuff off. And then that is what happened. It's a lot of power.
You mean dollars, not cents.
Yes, I'm sorry. $74 was it?
We had 70 cents, man. Gas would be cheap.
Yeah, I apologize. This area here was Trump. That candle was literally Trump saying, knock that crap off. And we saw it come down. I said I'd expect it to come back down to that 61. I don't know if we're going to see it get down to 55, but again, this correlates here. As you see this drop, that's more money in your pocket, and it basically helps with inflation. Now, it is not the cause of inflation, it is not, but as we see crude oil drop, we then see a slowdown inflation. We see a slowdown, which means more money in your pockets, which means that for most crypto people, that's going to be more money for you to invest into crypto. Hence, i.e., seeing it move higher, right? Sometimes you ever notice you have an extra, $20, $30, $40 in your bank account, or $100 or $200 based off the size of your family, right? If you're single, an extra $20, $30, you're like, oh, why is that? One, because literally everything else is cheaper. If you got a large family, if crude oil starts to go down, you actually you make more money, because literally it's the prices of your goods go down. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other factors that correlate with that, but this is one of your biggest ones you could be paying attention to, and actually even plan for. Okay, next, let's check out natural gas. We're coming to the end of at least my favorite season. Coming to the end of fall or summer, and we're coming into fall and winter. Now, this is a good play to play, right? Because there are a lot of cryptos out there that are now starting, that you can go on chain and they trade literally natural gas on chain. And so you can sit there, and we're actually going to start a partnership with that company, but you can actually trade this and take part in this trade of winter trade. No matter what, even if things are to fall apart here, I'm expecting to see right here for us to come back down to natural gas area of that $2.51 to the $2.20, right? It probably will come back down here into this level towards the end of summer, and then come fall, we'll see it do this right here. Boom, kind of come back down, and then winter time, see it go back up to about right to here, most likely, and if not higher. So when that trade comes, we're going to be looking for that, because there's going to be a nice little trade on natural gas. Gold.
Cumgar has an important. Wait, hold on there, Pedro. Cumgar has a statement about oil prices that I missed when you were talking about oil. It says oil below $60. Jobs start disappearing here in Oklahoma, so those people don't have extra money. Yeah, there is that fine line, because most people in the world consume oil, but there is that big group of people that produce it, and if the price gets too low, they go broke. And the guys decided to trim the hedges outside the building here right at this moment. So I'm having to put myself on mute. And Pedro, I think you're on mute also.
I was just thinking about what he was saying. But the thing is for it to be at 55, like that 60, 55 area is one of those ones that that's interesting. That's really interesting. Because there are other places at 55, like to 45, where they actually do, that they can actually produce. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. If we see the correlation between jobs that are actually being created, this could push the market up also within. I know that in Oklahoma, you do have a pretty big manufacturing sector out there. So it's going to be really interesting to see if manufacturing really gets established out in Oklahoma as a potential a play for him. I'd love to see. I'm going to see if Trump does that. That's actually a really important thing to do. All right, I'll be paying attention to that. All right, next. Now, one of the things I like to look at again is the top. When it comes to the tech stocks, you can see here, this is the top 9 tech stocks from Apple, Microsoft.
You started to go over gold before we tripped back to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. So gold here, I reset our new target for that 3,800 area. I think we're seeing a pullback down, because look at the amount of sellers stepping in comparative to the amount of buyers that were stepping in. Okay. So you can see here, big volume, people buying, sell off, small volume, which indicates basically what they're actually planning. So I'm looking at the 100-day period moving average, pulling back. We have a liquidity area right here, as well as right here. So, and if you see here, this is going to be the higher time frame 8, which is sitting around that level here, or 20. And if you look at your monthly, you can actually see it sitting about right here as well, which is going to be the liquidity area right here, the previous month. So with that said, I'm looking between that 33.18 area for gold, all the way down potentially to that 31.87 as a pullback, and then see it continue higher from there, from those levels. This is when I start to see this a big sell-off, and then I see the increase in the VIX, right? That means things are about to get up and get crazy, which means more volatility, which means more money in your pocket as traders.
Money, money, money.
Superman. All right. Here we go. I'm going to actually go over this here real quick. So we're watching the big tech companies starting to turn around here. Again, I created this chart here off of TradingView. I put it together, a bunch of them. You can see here that it kind of peaked up here, the Magnificent 7, or I call it the Magnificent 9. We saw it go up. I'm expecting to come down. Now, we're not seeing a drop in volume, right? Like per se, what I was expecting. But the fact is that this week is still Tuesday, and it's a red week. So I expected to kind of pull below here and then continue down as we fall. Again, these are the top stocks in the world: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, United Healthcare, right? Like these are the ones you need to be paying attention to. As these move, the rest of the market moves. So these are some of the ones I'm looking at. Now, as I'm bringing this up, you can see here that we're watching, as it continues high, a lowering of the volume. That means that from this moment on, like you're going to see this thing start to fall off. Right at these levels here, you can see here
a volume divergence.
The volume divergence is what I always look at.
Pedro, just as a programming note, after this one, I got to read an ad.
Okay, go ahead. You're good. I'm pretty much done here. So that's why I'm looking at this. I bring this up this week because I've been watching this and saying, is it really going to continue? And it sure looks like it, man. it's, this week I will be really interested to see with the actual real numbers if they actually come out with them.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
All right. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's NFL football time of the year. Set your clocks, mark your calendars, and buckle up for the best NFL primetime football action. Starting September 4th on Westwood One, you can catch all the bone-crushing hits, last-second heroics, and edge-of-your-seat action that NFL Thursdays, Sundays, and Monday nights have to offer. Whether you're tailgating, driving, or chilling at home, don't miss a single snap. Listen on the NFL app, the Westwood One Sports app at westwoodonesports.com, or just say, Alexa, open Westwood One Sports. It's like the NFL. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a QR code right here to download the Westwood One Sports app. I'm not even asking for your money, nor are they. They just want you to download their app and check them out. Go ahead and do that for us. It would really help us out. Also in the comment section, there is a learn more link about how to get the westwoodonesports.com app so you can listen to your NFL games when they're up and on and hot. And apparently you can get it through Alexa also. Anyway, thanks to Westwood One Sports for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live.
Excellent. So I'm kind of done here, but be paying attention to this. If you're wondering how I did this, what you do is you come up here into TradingView and you can pick, and then what you do is you just hit add. So let's say I want to look at Amazon, or let's say I want to look at the manufacturing sector. I go out and get the top 10 stocks, and that's where I'm looking at to cool. See this. Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. 3, 2. That's not fair. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. Thanks to everyone that's watching us on Rumble here. Pedro, I think your camera just kicked off there.
I know. I don't even get why it kicked off there.
Oh, sorry. But anyway, thanks everyone watching us on Rumble. Thanks to everyone watching us on YouTube. And I noticed there's a couple of you over there on LinkedIn. We don't get a lot of live viewers on LinkedIn, but we do get a lot of replay. People, our last episode hitting over 80 people watching it at some point or another during the show. So thanks to everyone over there. And of course, all of you that do tune in for the average of 6.5 seconds on X. I'm glad to see your attention span is getting 50% longer because it used to be 4 seconds. So thank you for that. See, statistics show we're moving up on X. View and trade is up 50%.
Is it really?
Yeah, well, they went from an average 4-second view to 6-second view.
Yeah. Wow. 50%. That's amazing.
Dun, dun, dun,
it's cool to be able to sit there and say that. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out a couple other things here. Now, one of the things I think is super important to be paying attention to as well is, as now we're going to be coming into the crypto area. We already talked a little bit about BTC, what I'm expecting it to do, right? From seeing it coming down off the highs here, and we're seeing it come down lower to see it go up. Same idea when it's going to go with Ethereum. Now, what's really important to understand here is as Ethereum does come down, I expected to see some volatility step in. I believe Ethereum is going to be the bellwether in relationship to the movement. When it starts to move up, the rest of crypto is going to see it continue higher. And we're going to see some volatility, some big movement here as this starts to see the turnaround. So that area, again, I've talked about this at the beginning of the show, is really going to be that 3,800, 3,880, potentially down to that 3,660 area. And then from there, we'll find out. But I'm pretty positive we're going to see some pretty violent moves here as it moves. Now, next, let's check out Solana, because Solana is one of those ones that a lot of DJs look at and play with. And so it's one of those ones that's important to be paying attention to. Solana plays here is coming down to
this is driving me crazy on this end too.
There we are. Forward to the 173 area here. And this area here is important to be playing off of, because as we come down, what did we not see at the beginning of the month? We did not see a demand wick. Okay, excuse me, a supply wick. So that supply wick is sitting right here. That's what I'm looking for, especially for Solana, because if Solana comes down and hits this area here, this is going to be a major mover, right? That area here. And so this is kind of the magic number. If we close below this weekly 8 and 50, then I'm expecting this thing to see a turnaround. Now, what's important to be paying attention to, and what do I always bring up right after I talk about the moving averages, Tom? Pointing at it. Volume, 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 volume. Always about volume. You can see here that we're coming down to an area. We remember what I was talking about with the markets and how the markets play. If it's going down and I don't see conviction in seller volume, that means most likely that buyers are stepping in as it's selling off. And also, when you look at this, let's go ahead and pull up. It is easily it's about 2/3 of the way of the month here. 2/3 of the month. Why is that so hard for me to say? We've blown through 2/3 of the month already. And so you can see here that we have less volume. Like this is, keep looking at this. Less volume in here, less volume in here, right? Less volume as it's coming down into these levels here, which means that by the time we close, it will be one of the lowest volume months in all of, if we double in volume, excuse me, not month, but for the weeks, if we double in volume for this week, it's still not going to equate, and this is important to understand, it's still not going to equate it. So as I'm looking at this weekly, now let's go to the monthly here real quick, right? You can see that the month is coming in. We already put the demand weight coming in, and now it's continuing higher. So for me personally, I'm expecting Solana to see it get up to that 259 to that 252 area here, but we've got to close, and this is all based off of this weekly chart. As we come down into this area, if I see it close below here with high seller volume, changes, but it's not there. I think we're going to come down, tap this area because it's Tuesday and we're just starting the week, and you can see here that we're coming down, picking up liquidity here to see it go up. And so this is going to be a fun ride because it's going to give us liquidity into, guess where? Because who's on Solana, people? Pump fund. And so people will have money, right? And if you're staking your Solana or you're messing with it, you're going to receive dividends. You're going to receive rewards for that, and so you'll be able to play with more money. Now, again, you're like, well, that's just pennies. Pennies add up. Just ask the guys who are in Office Space, right? What's going on, bud? Can you hear me? Looks like I'm losing my guy here. You there, bud?
I'm here. I'm dealing with a large lawn mowing crew outside here.
Oh, you're good. You're no worries. You're good. All right. I just wanted to make sure. I thought you were trying to get a hold of my attention. All right. So I'm expecting Solana this month. Excuse me. After this week comes in, we saw it push up. Right. Expected to pull back and then see it go and continue higher. So it's one of those things that I'm looking for. I expect it. This is what we're going to see. So it's one of those things I'm expecting for our traders, or for our, what is it, 3, 6, 9, 10 people watching us over at DEF CON. This is a good sign, right? That we're playing off of this level here. Now, the other part to be paying attention to, and you're like, well, what, right? Would be who? Bonk. Not Bonk. Was it? What's the other pump fund?
Bone.
Oh,
no,
other
pump fund. The other pump. You mean Moonshot, like on deck screener?
Is it? But no, there's a bunch of guys in the chat. Do me a favor, over at DEF CON. which one is actually, so you have Pump Fund that's on Solana, and the other one is on, why am I forgetting? Is it not Bobo? It's not, but why is that? Why can't I remember? Is it Bonk? I think it's Bonk. Yeah, it's Bonk. I'm tripping here. I don't know why sometimes I do that. My brain just, okay. Let's go here real quick. So Bonk. Actually, that's going to be, here we are, Bonk. So Bonk is coming down to our area of demand here, right? And right now we saw last week, which we saw a decent amount of sell-off here. But if this holds, if we see Bonk hold right here off of that 200 period moving average, it's going to act as some support. Again, we also have on Bonk that monthly 8 period moving average, which is sitting at 4018.53. If we see volume come into this, we then should see major volume going into, guess where, their potential degen plays that they have for I do not know why, I think it's called Bonk, whatever it is, but you could then start to pick up more plays from there as we start to move. Again, this is all predicated on what's going to happen with bonds, interest rates, and you're like, there's no way it's correlated. Just like many times people have looked at me and said, you're crazy, your attachment to that is incorrect. It will work out. So be paying attention and don't, why can't I remember, what is Bonks? Give me a second. I'm just going to pull it up here.
So I am completely useless over here, Pedro, helping you out, because every time I go to turn my mic back on, the lawnmower guy comes by in this giant 9,000 horsepower motor for a yard that's the size of a postage stamp.
I got you. Bonk, yes, thank you. But for Bonk, there is the whatever play this is, I forget what it is, the actual name of it. My brain is literally forgetting. But it's one of those ones that as Bonk, if we come down into this level here, I'm expecting to see this thing kind of see a pickup in volume. So be mindful, be paying attention to that, because if it does, then you can take advantage on some plays, like some big plays that have basically launched on that you saw dead coins, but you see them have at least a decent sized community. You could throw some cash in there and then see it grow right quickly, potentially X's. So that's what we're paying attention into Bonk at these levels here. All right, next, let's check out Crow here. Crow
Pedro,
is one of those ones.
To be clear, the other platform is called letsbonk.fun, and it's bonk.fun. Letsbonk.fun. And it's taken a lot of volume away from pump.fun.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. As they're coming into areas of liquidity, we will see volatility happen in big movements. And so if you pick up Bonk, right, at these lower levels for Bonk here, you'll be able to capture a decent amount. And what's so interesting is it literally came down to our areas here. Boom, came down. And so I'm expecting to see similar situation at these mid-mark area. And we'll wait and see. You can pick up some at double or 402 to that 401. If it sells off through here, your next level is going to be at 4013 to 4012 area. And so these two little areas here is where I'm expecting to see some stuff happen within Bonk. Now, the biggest thing I point out here is we saw that increase in volume. Now look, you're seeing a decrease in sellers here. That decrease in sellers here is an indication of lessening up of seller volume, and most likely a potential buy volume stepping in as institutions, particularly, I said typically and particularly all within the same word. But
add it to the list.
No, yeah, particularly. Particularly what we want to see is it hold here at this level, right? And so that's where I'm looking at. This is not for you to tell you to put everything on it, but this is something to be paying attention to so you can take part in this move. All right, next, let's talk about Crow. Crow here is one of those ones, again, that I believe they're going to come out. If you're going to, I think we'll see a lot of the major coins out there go out and create that form of let's bonk or pump fund. But if there's a coin that is positioned to really do it and do it well, it's either Binance, right, or a Crow. What else? I'm just thinking Crow, but in particular I think Crow, literally because they already have a huge customer base, and that customer base, they're already doing up down options, they're already doing other situations that correlate, and they're bringing in more of a degenic mindset where people are actually buying and selling, or not even buying and selling, but people are betting against the market. So the next evolution that they're going to bring to their clients is literally going to be something like this. And so it would be silly for them not to do it because they already have the client base. And so buying Crow, as we see the sell off here, would probably be a good situation because they already have a DeFi wallet that you could actually buy and trade and move. And again, it'd be separate from their normal business, but it would add to their business. So it's one of the plays that I was going to bring up today to be looking to say, hey, look, if we start to see it, because they're already leaning those ways already. It's already the places that they're going. But the next evolution is that play. So I would be paying attention to see. Obviously, you can stake Crow. You can do a lot of get rewards off of it, off of crypto.com's app. But the biggest key is this, is as I'm seeing a sell off here, I'm not seeing a deep increase in volume here. Like you can see here, we should see it come probably down to that 12-cent mark area again, and then see it bounce up to see it go back up again. So I don't know, I'm expecting to see some innovation that correlates with a type of pump fund with Crow.
Pedro, I'm interested in that volume there, since it looks like to be about the first week of July. It's had a very steady increase in volume. I don't mean the volume is increasing. I just meant the overall usage of Cronos in the trading of it is up a lot compared to history. I'm not including outlandish days like that big green candle, but still the volume is up on Cronos a lot.
Well, this is what we've seen with the up down options plays, right? Because people have to buy Crow, and so the more they buy, and whether you lose it or gain it, this is what you're seeing here. Also, people can now buy stocks on why am I forgetting what it's called, on the crypto.com app. Their next play, I mean, it just makes sense to me. Like, why would they not? They've literally got millions of customers, and they're feeding they like being degens. So it just makes sense to me that they would play this way. And we're already seeing that. I mean, you can see the increase in just volume. I mean, just it's right there.
Right.
It's literally right here. So yeah, I just, that's what I expect to see. We'll see it pull back, come back to these lower levels of that 11 cent to like I said, around 12 cents to about 9 cents at the most. You have your 200 period moving average. You have your weekly and your monthly area sitting right here, also at that 10, 11 cents. So yeah, it just makes sense to me that that's what they're going to do and play. They're just going to, and it's going to be a lot of money for them. And this is where I think you'll see Crow go from 12 to 11 cents all the way up to potentially, the high, if not seeing a $2 Crow, right? And at these levels, at 4 cents, 5 cents, a $2 Crow would be, what is that? 20, it's 10, 20, it's a 20x. And so that would bring
we'll take a
20x
all day.
Absolutely. All right, so that's it in a nutshell. H&T, we're watching it pull back down to our areas here. I'm looking to pick up a little bit more here at that 12, or excuse me, not 12, but $2.17 area here. And if it even goes down below this, I'm still picking up because I love what they're doing with their miner and how people use it. And so there's a lot of stuff going on within the ecosystem. So I still like, I thought we were going to see it go higher and tap that $4 mark on H&T helium, but not so much. So that's why I'm kind of seeing if it comes back down to these lower levels, I want to play that. If you want to take that short, you can take this short here. Your stop is going to be around, and this is going to be a 1-to-1 ratio, right? It's going to be just above that 8 period, which is going to be that $26.99 or $2.69 area to about, I would say, let me move this down here.
I'm writing this one down, Pedro.
Yes, to that $2.90 or $2.09 area here. So it's kind of a nice little play here. You can see it's where your stop would be up here for helium, and then we would expect it to see it come back down to this liquidity area. Again, just be smart on your, don't over leverage here. This is not over leveraging. You just simply, compound interest takes care of itself, right? 20% a day for anybody who's trading is phenomenal trading, right? Because 20% a day is basically 100% a week, right?
It's 20% a day. It adds up. You can take $30 and make it $9 million very quickly.
Well, obviously liquidity is not going to allow for that. But what I'm saying though is these plays here at, if you can make, consistently, 20% a day, not in one trade, but in a cumulative of trades, that's when you really start to see money come in. And that's where you start to bring exponential growth that goes to your trading, which I always try to preach for people is one hit wonders are great, but if you can make 20%, 30% every day, that's when you're able to start to be just consistently profitable in your trading, and then you can actually make this a living versus a hope, right? Like, so
yep.
Anyways, that's in a nutshell. I'm kind of done early here today, which is pretty cool. I was really trying to stay on topic here. If anybody has any questions or anything that you would want to ask me to check out, please hop in the chats and ask me. I love to be able to check out the things you want me to check out. Also, for you DEFCON guys, just ask me the questions in the chat here that we're going live on, and I'll check it out. Data bound, amen, a magical. No, I almost said it. Boom. Okay, that's about it. But they are important. Not you, bro. Just bonds are boring. Oh man, people don't realize that the bonds are just so important, dude. They may be boring, but it's the boring things that make you money.
Right. Well, I can totally understand people that are in and out very quickly, trading meme coins or meme stocks or AMC or GameStop and that type of stuff, not caring about bonds because, if you're in the market for, 20 minutes, the bond prices are not going to affect you. But if you're a long-term holder of something that is affected by the overall market, you can get an idea of where the market's going from the bonds, and from at least you can get an understanding of where people are really putting their money versus what they're doing with their money. And so you can listen to Pedro and I talk. You can listen to 7,000 other people on YouTube talk. And if we're all saying, "Oh, market go up, everything is great," but the bond market is showing something opposite, you got to listen to the bond market. Although I have to say, we're always telling you what the bond market's doing, so listen to us. Pedro, it was a great technical Tuesday today. Let's why don't we finish off with a little afternoon visit to BTC and see where this day is going to take us.
So it's
trading
coming down
at 113,000 here. It's good though.
Yes,
You're talking about it coming down to this range for a while.
Mm-hmm. So you can see here, I'm expecting it to come back down. We're going to be pulling back up to the 1 hour chart. Most likely, what time is it? It's 2. Expect to pull back up to this level here. And this right here was a great play yesterday, man. Look, it came down to our area and then shot up. I mean, it was easily this would have been our local low here. Once we got above the 8, this thing just skyrocketed. And when you look at the 5-minute 8-period moving average, it was
nice. Where are we in comparison to our monthly low here?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I can just look at it on my chart here, but educating the viewers.
Yeah.
So people come and go, Pedro. They do a lot of it. You know, it's lunch. A lot of people are at work, and they can't listen to Discord for a big part of their jobs. They get a few minutes while they're eating their sandwich, or in between classes. A lot of our viewers are students at the university level.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I was really happy to see, thinking people would like it. All right, so you can see here that this level here, and plus they're seeing how I see the world and the market. So you can see here
our
that
August monthly low is, I can't read that, was that 112, 144? So we're not that far from it.
Yeah. And so if this thing catches, that's why I expect us potentially to get down to that 110 and potentially that 107 area if we really start to see a bit of a sell-off within the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. I think anything at 100 market cap is going to be just a buy area. I mean, just everybody's going to buy around 100,000 market cap. When it comes, not market cap, 100,000 price point for BTC. So that's why I just think it's a safe bet between 112, 107, 104 area as things start to move up or move back up. All right, that's it in a nutshell. What I expect for today is, let's go, Bobby. Let's go, Ricky Bobby. Let's go. What do I do with them? What do I do with them?
I forgot that I had the sound machine going here, and every time we use the word America, we get the eagle scream, and I forgot to do that. And of course, all the good ones, you know, I'm not going to go through them. I'm not going to go through them anyway, but I'm going to do the Kamala Harris and Donald Trump one, but we'll save that one for another day.
Definitely. One of the things we can be paying attention to here is for your daily on BTC, that 8 right here, I'd expect for it to come and tap right here as the 8 period comes in. So that's going to correlate. So if we see a pullback to this area right here, which is kind of where the volume is sitting, this is 11, boom.
So then you're saying the price action's getting a little far away from the 8 period, so it has to come back to it.
Yep. And then by that time period, you can see here that we have the 8 o'clock time change, which is basically when the US takes over and London kind of stops, right? And that's that area, that's right, the handoff. So there's a lot of volume sitting right in between this area right here. And so I'm expecting this to actually pick up. Now, if you're into ICT trading, you can also sit there and say that we actually have a liquidity area here, which is a fair value gap. So that's why I'm looking at these areas to sit there and look at that. So that's it in a nutshell for today. Wait for that pullback for the 8 to come down and then capture the trade by it catching it right here, and then see it continue down. So that's in a nutshell. All righty, that's it. Thank you guys for listening to us today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, that's about it in a nutshell.
Well, we had a good show today. Technical Tuesdays, one of my favorite days. I do a lot more sitting back and listening because today's a big learning day for me. But not every day is as technical as this. That's a lot of days where you hit those meme coins or what's happening, what are the hot projects that we're talking about, things like that. So always make sure you kind of come back on the other day of the week too, to join us. As we say, there's always good news here, because day trading, it doesn't just necessarily mean price go up. It just means price go up or price go down, and in a manner that which we can take advantage of. Every show is, Pedro, I would say every show is a good one, no matter what we talk about, because it's always learning something. For those of you stuck around, those of you who are new and stuck around, I always like to say that this is, or Pedro and I like to say this is edutainment. We educate you and entertain you. Not a lot of entertaining going on today, a lot more education, but nonetheless, it's what we do here. We're coming to the end of Technical Tuesday here, firing up the all gassed up. Means only one thing, Pedro. It means we're going to talk about what's coming up tomorrow. Pedro, got any ideas on your brain for what you're coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, I want to go. Yeah, I want to kind of talk about some of the blockchains and meme coins we've been kind of looking at. So we'll be checking those out. And then also there's been some new developments actually happening in tech. And I think it's really important to be paying attention to, especially with what we're seeing when it comes to microchip, and also what's actually happening with AI that correlates there. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more trading from literally just agents that that's going to go into the modern day just trader. And so this is this new tech kind of, it has a brain much like ours, the new chip, and once that starts to come out, obviously we'll see it go into two ways. One is going to be porn, and two is going to be trading. So this is how
porn
it
and
goes,
money,
right?
The things that drive the world.
Porn and money.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. As always, we're here 5 days a week, usually around 12 o'clock to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, UTC -4 during daylight savings, and UTC -5 during the winter. But tomorrow we'll be here right at noon, giving you another good and fun show. Thank you to everyone that donated today with Rumble Rants. We didn't have any YouTube super chats. Maybe we can correct that tomorrow. We'll set a goal tomorrow to raise like $5 whole bucks or something like that. Anyway, as usual, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. Man in the box next to me, doing Technical Tuesday. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. We will see all of you tomorrow.
Jack love at last, I'm at peace with this vast blood. Only took a crash, landing down in the trash mud to figure out why I've been so smashed up. Holy moly, lonely only when I'm coldly zoning, cozy in my holy home without my homie ceremonies, owning in my own, roaming through my dome, hoping that I'm only throwing stones to get you going. Maybe you could clone me, break the